On a hot afternoon on May 23, 1992, the highway linking Palermo Airport to the city looks like any other. Cars pass by, families head home, the sun beats down on the asphalt. Suddenly, the ground opens up. A colossal explosion tears through the concrete, blasts a crater, hurls a car dozens of meters away. It is the vehicle of Judge Giovanni Falcone. Beside him, his wife, Francesca Morvillo. Behind them, the members of his escort. In a few seconds, all of Italy understands one simple and brutal thing. The Mafia has decided to declare total war on the state. This story is about that war. A war fought between two men who barely met, but spent their lives hunting each other. Giovanni Falcone, a methodical judge, obsessed with following the money trail. And Salvatore Totò Riina, a small farmer from Corleone, who became the most bloodthirsty boss of Cosa Nostra. While one wrote arrest warrants, the other signed death sentences. In between, an entire island, Sicily, used as a battlefield. To understand Falcone versus Riina, we need to go back to where it all began. Corleone, a small town in the interior of Sicily, surrounded by hills, dry fields, and poverty. In the 1950s, Corleone had high rates of illiteracy, unemployment, and emigration. Many people packed their bags and left for northern Italy, for Germany, for the United States. At that time, the undisputed boss of the local mafia was Michele Navarra, a doctor. Respected, influential, politically protected. They called him Padre Nostro, our father. Until the day the father was executed. Navarra is lured into an ambush. His car is hit by a storm of bullets. Dozens of shots. A shredded body. No doubt about the message. A new generation of mafiosi is taking power. Leading this new generation are Luciano Liggio, Bernardo Provenzano, the Bagarella brothers, and one seemingly ordinary man, short, with little schooling, but absolutely cold-blooded, Salvatore Totò Riina. They break with the old rural banditry. They move beyond cattle, fields, small-time extortion. The goal is different. To get into cement, public works, the large sums of money that are beginning to circulate in Sicily. Years later, in a cemetery in Corleone, a TV crew interviews some residents. At first, the answers are almost sincere. They talk about fear, silence, shots at night. Suddenly, two strangers approach. In silence, the interviewees notice. The tone changes. Eyes drift away from the camera. The answers become vague, neutral. It is omerta, the law of silence, operating live on air. It is in this environment of fear and enforced loyalty that Riina's new mafia takes shape. And within a few years, Corleone would become too small for it.
Late 1960s, the Corleones decide the time has come to seize the real prize, Palermo. The capital of Sicily is at once a gateway for public money and a showcase of political power. Whoever controls Palermo controls contracts, construction sites, votes. In 1969, an attack shifts the balance of power. On Via Lazio in Palermo, an armed team disguised as police storms an office. It is a surgical, violent operation. Boss Michele Cavataio and other men are killed. The message is clear. the Corleones are willing to kill whoever is necessary to dominate the city. At the same time, the Mafia moves deep into construction. The city begins to be devoured by buildings thrown up in haste with no planning, no respect for heritage. This is the notorious Sack of Palermo, an open-air urban plunder. A name emerges as the bridge between mafia and politics, Vito Ciancimino. The son of a barber from Corleone, he becomes one of the most powerful men in the Christian democracy in Sicily. He controls permits, authorizes construction, approves projects. And with that, he opens the door for Cosa Nostra to enter the legal economy for good. While the cement rises, the drug trade circulates. Heroin refineries are set up in country houses. Sicily becomes a processing and transit point for narcotics between Europe, the United States, and other markets. Behind the scenes, after Luciano Liggio's arrest in the 1970s, a new figure effectively takes command of Cosa Nostra, Salvatore Riina. A fugitive with no fixed address, he nevertheless moves around Palermo almost like an ordinary citizen. He takes advantage of the free hours, predictable moments when police shifts change and surveillance loosens. He is the organization's top boss, yet he appears like a ghost everyone knows exists and pretends not to see. Palermo is captured. The Mafia decides who works, who gets contracts, who can run for office, who must die. The state is present, but on the defensive.
As the Corleones rise, another path takes shape in parallel, that of Giovanni Falcone. Falcone is born in Palermo in 1939 into a middle-class family. He studies at a traditional school, spends time at the Naval Academy, but ultimately chooses the judiciary. At first, he works in other cities. He is a methodical, hard-working judge with no reputation as a hero. At the end of the 1970s, he returns to Palermo. He finds a city poisoned by mafia violence. But inside the Palace of Justice itself, there are still those who say that the mafia does not exist as an organization, that everything is merely local gangs, ordinary crimes, personal rivalries. Falcone is assigned to the 6th Criminal Section of the Ufficio Istruzione, led by Rocco Cinici. He receives a case that seems like just another file involving trafficking and construction, the Rosario Spatola case. A builder linked to money from abroad and suspected of heroin connections. But Falcone decides to do something few had done before in Sicily. He opens the bank accounts. He goes after statements, transfers, accounts in the names of frontmen. He follows the money, not only the blood. The leads take him to other countries. Falcone travels, collaborates with foreign authorities, uncovers connections with mafia families in the United States. For the first time, someone inside the Italian state begins to see Cosa Nostra as an international structure. But this perspective comes at a cost. Within the Palace of Justice itself, some colleagues start to see him as someone who makes too much noise. Businessmen complain about intrusion into accounts and contracts. Politicians are unsettled by the fact that the investigation is getting too close. Falcone continues. He works late, takes files home, covers his desk with dossiers. He is not looking for glory. He wants something simple and dangerous: to prove with documents that the mafia exists and has a name, a face, and assets. As Falcone deepens his investigations, Riina prepares another strategy: terror.
In the early 1980s, the so-called Second Mafia War erupts. Traditional Palermo bosses like Stefano Bontate and Totuccio Incerillo are executed. Allies, relatives, soldiers. A long chain of murders turns the city into a killing ground. But Riina decides to go further. He breaks an old mafia golden rule: avoid direct confrontation with the heart of the state. Journalists start to fall. Mario Francese, who is investigating the rise of the Corleones, is murdered. Politicians are executed, like Michele Riina. Magistrates are killed, like Cesare Terranova. Police officers investigating the mafia, like Boris Giuliano, are shot dead in the middle of the city. In 1980, prosecutor Gaetano Costa is killed after signing arrest warrants based on investigations linked to Falcone. He had signed them alone to avoid implicating colleagues who were afraid. He pays with his life. On 6 January 1980, the president of the Sicilian region, Piersanti Mattarella, is assassinated in front of his family. He was a politician trying to clean up contracts, impose transparency. The message is brutal. Touch mafia interests, you die. In 1982, Pio La Torre, a communist member of parliament and author of a law that finally defines the crime of mafia association and allows the confiscation of mafia assets, is also executed. Soon after, Carabinieri Captain Emanuele Basile is killed. That same year, General Carlo Alberto Dalla Chiesa is appointed prefect of Palermo with the mission of confronting the mafia. But he arrives without special powers, without resources equal to the challenge. Not long after, he, his wife, and an agent are assassinated in the middle of the city. Palermo lives under an undeclared state of war. Explosions, gunfire, sirens become background sound. In this climate, Giovanni Falcone begins to live as a moving target. Permanent escort, armored car, varied routes, unpredictable schedules. At the same time, he keeps going to the Palace of Justice every day. Inside, some admire him, others see him as a problem. On the streets, many people whisper his name with respect and fear.
In 1983, a bomb explodes. Rocco Cinici, the magistrate who led the Ufficio Istruzione and shielded Falcone's work, is killed by a car bomb outside his home. It is a devastating blow, but this time the state responds differently. Antonino Caponetto takes over the office and makes a decision that changes everything. To create a stable group of judges who work together, share information, and spread the risk. Giovanni Falcone, Paolo Borsellino, Giuseppe Di Lello, Leonardo Guarnotta. They begin working in a bunker-like mode. Desks covered with files, maps on the walls, money flows scribbled on sheets of paper, newspaper clippings. The logic is simple and brilliant. If everyone knows everything, no one is left alone with a secret. If they kill one of us, the others continue. Cosa Nostra is a collective organization, then the state's response will be collective. The atmosphere is tense and heavy, but also human. Accounts mention jokes circulating through fear, quick lunches in windowless rooms, birthdays marked with cake on top of piles of files, an attempt to live even under constant attack. Public opinion begins to realize that there is a group inside the state willing to confront Cosa Nostra head-on. But that visibility creates discomfort. Within the judiciary itself, some accuse the pool of seeking the spotlight. Pressure does not come only from outside.
Meanwhile, the work advances, and a key figure is about to enter the scene.
Tommaso Buscetta is a mafioso. No one disputes that. He has been through arrests, escapes, business between Italy, the United States, and South America. But when Riina begins his internal purge, Buscetta's family becomes a target. Relatives, allies, people close to him are murdered. He understands the message. There is no longer a place for him in Totò Riina's Cosa Nostra. Arrested in Brazil and then extradited to Italy, Buscetta makes a historic decision: to talk. In meetings with Giovanni Falcone, he makes one thing clear. He does not consider himself a repentant in the moral sense. He says it was Cosa Nostra itself that betrayed its codes. He will simply explain how the organization works. Buscetta describes families, hierarchies, rituals, rules. He explains the role of the commission, the cupola. He provides names that had previously only been shadows. He translates codes into legal language. At one point, he warns Falcone, "After these interrogations, they will try to destroy you in every way, physically, professionally, and even so, the account with Cosa Nostra will never be completely settled." Falcone stands out for his ability to connect dots quickly. He recalls details from earlier statements, cross-checks dates, tests contradictions. He earns Buscetta's respect, something rare among mafiosi facing the state. Soon after, another mafioso, Salvatore Contorno, also decides to talk and confirms much of what Buscetta said. With these two sources, the anti-Mafia pool issues hundreds of arrest warrants, nearly 500. But there is a price. Part of Palermo accuses Falcone of targeting only small fish and leaving the powerful untouched. He responds with new blows.
Some arrests are emblematic. Among them, Vito Ciancimino, the politician who opened the city's doors to the real estate looting, and the Salvo brothers, major tax collectors, central figures in the bridge between mafia, politics, and finance. The pool's work converges on a unique moment, a major trial that brings all of Cosa Nostra to the dock, the Palermo Maxi Trial. For security reasons, a special courtroom is built, a concrete and steel bunker designed to withstand attacks. Iron cages hold dozens of mafiosi at a time. In total, 476 defendants are sent to trial. Before that, the state makes a curious decision. To protect Falcone and Borsellino during the final phase of the investigation, it sends both men, with their families, to the prison on the island of Asinara. There, in conditions close to confinement, they work day and night, preparing the case that would change Italy's judicial history. When they return, they receive a bitter surprise. The state sends them the bill for accommodation expenses, a symbol of institutional ambiguity. Those who defend the state are often left alone when it is time to pay. On 8 November 1985, the order committing the defendants to trial is filed. The Maxi Trial begins. More than 500 journalists from around the world attend. There are professional judges, lay judges, lawyers, interpreters. Around 3,000 agents ensure security. Inside the bunker, tension is constant. Some defendants try to turn hearings into theater. They shout, fake fainting, insult judges. Others remain in absolute silence, staring into the camera. Falcone, though not sitting on the bench, is the mind that built the case. His logic is simple. Do not try isolated murders, but an entire organization. Use testimony from repentance, yes, but supported by documents, accounting records,
money flows. After months of hearings, the verdict arrives. Hundreds of convictions, including life sentences for some of the most important bosses. Cosa Nostra is officially recognized as a criminal organization. But on the other side, one man takes notes on everything and feeds a boundless hatred.
For Totò Riina, the Maxi Trial is a humiliation. Seeing his men caged, hearing the words Cosa Nostra spoken in public with evidence, dates, names is intolerable. The response comes in blood. After the Maxi Trial, violence continues. Police officers like Giuseppe Montana, head of the arrests unit, are executed. Ninni Casarà, deputy chief of police and Falcone's friend, is killed in a brutal ambush outside his home. The list grows. At the same time, inside the state, maneuvers begin to try to dismantle the convictions. Changes in higher courts, appeals, pressure. Some discreetly want everything to return to normal. Falcone is transferred to Rome, to the Ministry of Justice. Many interpret it as sidelining, others as an attempt to expand his reach nationwide. Either way, he is physically far from Palermo, but remains at the center of the target. Riina understands the problem is not only legal, it is symbolic. As long as Falcone is alive, he represents the idea that the state can defeat the mafia. On the afternoon of 23 May 1992, the revenge plan reaches its peak. Explosives are placed in a tunnel beneath the motorway linking the airport to Palermo. From a distance, mafiosi watch the convoy approach. A massive explosion tears through the road. 3 cars are hit: Giovanni Falcone, Francesca Morvillo, and 3 members of the escort, Vito Schifani, Rocco Di Cillo, and Antonio Montinaro, are killed. The country is shocked. Thousands take to the streets, light candles, applaud as the coffins arrive. Teachers bring students to demonstrate outside courthouses. But the mafia is not finished. Less than 2 months later, on July 19, 1992, Judge Paolo Borsellino is killed in another explosion on Via D'Amelio in Palermo, along with 5 escort officers. The 2 bombs open a wound that never fully closes, and they raise an uncomfortable question, repeated to this day. Where did the mafia's hand end? And where did the omission or complicity of parts of the state itself begin? In January 1993, Riina is finally arrested in Palermo in a carabinieri operation. He is captured inside the very city he had dominated for years, like a ghost. For many, far too late. Falcone and Borsellino were already dead.
The war between Falcone and Riina ends without a face-to-face meeting. One dies on the road in an explosion. The other grows old behind bars, sentenced to life imprisonment. But the clash between them left deep marks. After Capaci and Via D'Amelio, tougher laws are approved. The special prison regime for mafiosi is strengthened. Investigative and prosecutorial structures are reorganized, with the creation of national bodies dedicated to fighting organized crime. More importantly, public perception of the mafia changes. Cosa Nostra stops being treated as a necessary evil or a folkloric theme. It becomes, clearly, an enemy of the democratic state. At the same time, the scar remains. Families destroyed, cities traumatized, gray zones never fully clarified. To this day, magistrates, journalists, and investigators debate the extent of the connections between mafia, politics, and business in that period. Giovanni Falcone was not a perfect hero. He was a man with doubts, fears, a personal life sacrificed. He himself said that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision not to let fear take command. Salvatore Riina, in turn, was not an isolated evil genius. He was the product of a system that mixed poverty, political clientelism, omerta, and a long tradition of parallel power. Between them was Sicily, and, by extension, all of Italy, a country that for decades tolerated real power being divided between the state and an armed, wealthy, ruthless anti-state. In the end, Falcone lost his life, Riina lost his freedom. But the story does not end with the death of either man. It continues every time a young magistrate chooses to investigate, every time a police officer refuses a bribe, every time a journalist decides to publish an inconvenient name, every time an ordinary citizen says no to fear. The war between Falcone and Riina was, in truth, a war between two models of power, one based on laws, documents, and courage, the other based on silence, blood, and money. The question that remains is simple and has no definitive answer. Which side, in practice, does the state choose to stand on when the price of choosing is as high as it was for Giovanni Falcone?